Hey, welcome everybody to our Sagittarius New Moon Intention Circle. We just had the last of our Inner Wisdom Circle gatherings last night for this calendar year as well. And all of us are feeling the energy of flood as we kind of move toward the end of the calendar year in this at this incredible breakneck speed with no respite in sight, I suspect. Velen will be able to clue us into that a little bit more. And we are going to be talking about that and dealing with that and playing with that and dancing with that in our Visioning 2024 workshop. So this is the first official invitation that you get to see of this incredible image that I think captures the energy of 2024 so perfectly. And our metamorphosis, our personal and spiritual and soul-based metamorphosis that we're all going through and into. Co-create your future forward. That's our kind of theme for 2024. And we have, as we did last year, which we really loved, we are doing a 2-date, it's one workshop with 2 dates. You can come to one date only if you want. If you just want to do the January 20th, which is really the teaching piece, the big teaching piece, you're welcome to do that. But we love doing it in the 2 parts because the March 23rd date captures the 2 weeks of following equinox, following what is our spring equinox here in Canada, which is a very powerful vision board creation and intention setting and manifestation time. So we're very excited about all of the opportunities that we're going to be capturing, particularly because the first date, which is the Saturday, January 20th, is the actual date when Pluto goes into Aquarius. And that is something else. We're feeling it now for sure. And some of the kind of the bits and edges of it. And of course, we had a preview of it this past spring, which we talked about in our previous visioning workshop. So this will be is it our 4th annual, Bella? Or our 5th?
Yeah, I think it is.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, it's our 4th one. First one being 2020. And so we are going to be offering the early bird to our New Moon Circle folks. So that's you, and you'll get an email. So watch your email and it'll have some details. And there's a beautiful landing page for you to look at as well. And we're excited about that. So Valen, take us into our space for this evening.
Okay, so the channeled message for this lovely Sagittarius new moon, and as you said something about no respite or something, Sasha, it's almost like the Sagittarius moon actually is a respite because it's uplifting, it expands. Anyways, I'll get into that when I get into the astrology. So this is the message that I channeled through the other day. My dear ones, this is a time to feel the truth of your own expanded soul. For on that path alone can you choose to live your soul into 3 dimensions in all its beauty and complexity. There is much that is to be learned through the focus of your intention and how that manifests in your life. As you connect to your own unique essence from the heart, your material reality wraps around you to support your experiences. Step into this time of inner optimism, inner growth, inner love, for that is what you will bring to your life expressed in your day-to-day reality. Know the choices made from this expanded place bring each and every one of you the joy you seek and the soul growth that you've chosen to experience in this lifetime.
Beautiful. So let's take a moment, take one hand to your heart energy space, and it can be that higher heart kind of closer to the collarbone, if you like. And just take a moment to breathe into your hand and breathe into your heart. And just sit with the upliftment and the love, honestly, that is present in that message for us. And as you sit with that, just contemplate this dark time we're in. I love the Sagittarius new moon for so many reasons. Sagittarians are I have a particular love of Sagittarians in general. My partner being one, my favorite auntie who's on this call is one, my childhood best friend is one. I mean, they're just all around me. It's lovely. But actually one of the main reasons why I love it is because it's the darkest new moon there is, because we have the absolute shortest day and the longest night coming up. We're moving toward it, less than 3 weeks away. And when this new moon is around the 12th, it will be just a few days from that solstice, which is probably one of my favorite days of the year. And in this particular part of the world, we often have snow at this time of year for this new moon. And there's a crispness and a quietness to the darkness. And this particular moon, the energy of this particular moon and its celestial relationships, beckons to our unique essence. And so it's really asking us to sit in that quiet place. And this is part of the respite that Belen is going to be talking about, is this opportunity for us to look at how we're planting seeds and what those seeds are: seeds of inspiration, seeds of our personal truth, our genuineness, finding a place to our inner authority so that we can really take a stand for what we value. And that's going to support and nourish our soul's expansion. And so just sit with that as you breathe in and out and feel your way into the energies of this moon. And Belen is going to share some details with us.
Mm-hmm. So Sagittarius energy in general is expansive. It's fiery, it's uplifting. It wants us to seek the higher perspective, the bigger perspectives, high ideals, seek truth, whatever that means for each of us. It can be very visionary and optimistic. It's very open to experiences. It seeks freedom. And actually, I probably didn't use freedom enough in the words. I'm just, as I'm reading this, I'm thinking and looking at the chart, I'm thinking, oh, I should have maybe used that word freedom a little bit more, because there's a piece where Sagittarius seeks, I'm going to say in this new moon, a new kind of freedom. There's an optimism of what we can create and liberate ourselves in some way. I'll get into the details in the exact new moon. That's the skillful qualities of some of the skillful qualities of Sagittarius. There's also the other side where, seeking wisdom can end up turning into dogma, that sense of knowing what's right and stepping into, an arrogance around it, or, moral superiority, a form of, I know what's best and that's the way it is. And there can even be, with the adventurous enthusiasm of Sagittarius, we can even slip into irresponsibility. And with this new moon, we're having this opportunity to have a vision for our soul path. And so there's a piece about connecting to the parts that uplift and that expand. And then at the time of the new moon, to reflect on where you might get caught in some of the unskillful qualities. And it's going to be different for everyone, and whether it's just feeling restless or whether feeling stuck in an old idea. Just to recognize that that's part of the energy, and in recognition of any energy, then that helps you move through and move into your future self with a sort of a fuller acknowledgement of who you are. So it's just a part of paying attention to all of the energies. And Sagittarius in general, these are just a few things that we've taken from our journal. It assists giving us the freedom to explore and seek out diverse experience. It's that expansive nature, a thirst for knowledge, a thirst for adventure. We're wanting to move out into the world in some way, move out into our ideas. Approaching life with humor, because Sagittarius can do that really well, and that's maybe something that we can bring into our intention that we set for this new moon in this time of energy, to be aware of how that stepping into humor allows for a flow of energy to move through. And that actually is that's the versatility. So there is an easy flow that can happen, particularly when we're following what feels right for us. And an ability to talk about what moves me, because Sagittarius will want to share the wisdom, share what's going on. And there's also this seek of truth, which again, I feel goes back to some sort of liberation or freedom. When you really connect to your own truth, there's a freedom in that. And it's the letting go of the pieces that you don't need to carry forward. So there's a lot here, and I'll get into the details of the actual new moon, looking at the chart for the new moon. And for any of you who know where 20 degrees Sagittarius is in your chart, you can look to that to give you more information about how you might want to set an intention, what you want to, just more info. It'll give you more detailed information about what I'm going to say here. So to begin with, it is just sort of what I've said about Sagittarius. It opens us to new possibilities. So remembering, particularly on the new moon, and if we use it to set intentions, to tap into inspiration, enthusiasm, your optimism, a fresh sense of adventure, that expanded nature, and allow a higher perspective to show you a new personal vision. And the symbol for Sagittarius is the archer, and the arrow is pointing up, it's pointing high, it's pointing up and out. And so there's a sense of what's out there that is beyond what we may even see at this point. So just dropping into that level of connection with the possibilities. Now, there's an interesting connection here with the planet Uranus, and Uranus is about the future, and it's about new ideas. It is about liberation and freedom and higher vibration. So the connection with the new moon to that energy is also about choosing the path that grounds us into our own authentic self. Authentic self being part of Uranus's job, is to show you, to express who you are truly in your essence, in your authenticity. And because Uranus can at times make it almost set up it'll shake things up a little bit. So there may be a place where you need to adapt to what the new visions or the new beliefs are in your life. So as you use that Sagittarius energy, that enthusiasm and that vision of what can be, you may need to actually adapt yourself, make some adjustments, maybe even some compromises, figure out how to make your vision for yourself adjust to who you are and to who you are now. So there may be an adjustment period there. And the other piece that I love to think of when I think about this connection to Uranus is be grateful for anything that is unexpected, that shakes things up. Because the reason that things get shaken up, is that a way of saying it? It allows you to see things in a new way. It brings a new perspective. It's an awakening. So all it is potential with this new moon to capture that feeling, wow, okay, this is a vision for myself that may be different, and wow, I need to make I need to shift a little bit. It may not even feel comfortable. Figure out, okay, who am I now with this new vision? And to recognize if things don't go the way that is expected, to be in gratitude for what those unexpected pieces in your life are actually showing you. And really a great reminder, especially when you set intentions and you think, oh, it's going to go this way, and then it doesn't go that way. It's not that that's not maybe following your intention, but there may be ways that it can unfold that's actually how it should unfold. There's another part of this new moon that's really important, in that it is guiding us towards our soul purpose. And there's a place where to do that, we need to follow our passion and to follow what energizes it, what fires us up, and allow that inner fire, that inner excitement, that inner energy to guide where your soul purpose actually is, where you are heading. And there's a connection to the South Node, which is about what do we release? What do we need to release to move forward? And in this case, there may be something that you need to let go of, that because it's no longer true for you. It's no longer who you are. And so as you consider, what can I use this beautiful energy for? Also reflect on, what do I no longer want to carry forward? Is it an idea? Is it someone else? Maybe something that doesn't quite, where you keep thinking something in balance or keep things in harmony that actually doesn't serve you anymore. So there's a piece here for us to really honor our own inner fire, our own drive, our own energy to move towards what our soul is calling us to do, and to allow ourselves to let go of those old pieces. And there's a lovely, there's Mars and Mars's sister Eris, the two warrior spirits in the chart, and they are asking us to courageously live our soul path. So, and I think of this as we step into new possibilities, as we open to the potential that's there for all of us, and then realizing we can tap in this new moon to the courage it might require to allow us to take the steps and to take practical steps. What are we going to do? And there's a piece here that the Eris character, which is a sister of Mars, is all about recognizing what's fair and just. So fair and just for all, that includes ourselves. What's fair and just for ourselves, and how do we express that in a way that is fair and just for all? So there's a lot of fire in this chart. There's a lot of energy here that we can tap into and really consider where our passion is guiding us to know what our soul is calling us to do. So all of those pieces are combined with this in a beautiful way with this new moon energy. Very supportive. There's another piece that is connected to our spiritual nature. This is connected to Neptune. And anytime there's a connection to Neptune, there can be the chance of stepping into lack of clarity, indecision. It's just like, I don't have a clue. I can't see clearly. I'm in a fog. I'm not really sure. And that is part of what a Neptunian energy can do. However, that may be in the mind. So any connection to Neptune asks you to tap into your dreams, your intuition, your creativity, your ideals. Let those guide you. So this is a beautiful time to really connect to that. So this new moon, connect to what your dreams are, connect to your creativity, connect to your compassion, connect to your intuitive, your inner wisdom, and allow that to be part of what is going to what is going to set your path. All the stuff we've already talked about, connecting to your soul's path. Allow the spirit to really just trust what's coming from spirit as a guide. And I've put here, surrender to the challenge, because the way this Neptune is in this chart creates a challenge, and challenges are the things that move us forward. They are to be embraced. So this is a beautiful time to surrender to the challenge of setting a path for ourselves that allows spirit to guide us, that allows spirit to flow through us, and in any way, any connection to source, whatever that is, whether it is creative, whether it's compassionate, whether it's in your dreams, whatever that is, just to allow that and to know that all of this is supporting you to move forward. All of this is supporting you in your life. And so that sense of intending these higher possibilities are actually supported in this new moon. So it's a really beautiful time to kind of capture any uplifting feeling and sense you have. There's another piece that comes together here, and part of it is, you've probably all heard of Mercury retrograde. Mercury goes retrograde right after this new moon. And so it's already slowed down, which it always does when it's ready to change directions. So as it's ready to go retrograde, it allows us to slow down and reflect and to integrate the expanding beliefs of the Sagittarian energy. And it's that slowing down that also allows us to watch for how messages are showing up in our reality, like in real ways. Does someone hand you a book? Is there a synchronicity that pops into your life? Who knows what that is? But to pay attention at this time, because there's something here. There are messages that are possible that come into reality in some way, and I always love to watch for synchronicities, and I always feel like the universe is speaking when you have synchronicities come into your life. But it can be any kind of messages, just a time to pay attention, because that's also guiding you. And there's a place where, as Mercury goes retrograde, you may not fully be able to know in your mind your future path. And to accept that, and to know it may be a time to reflect on what that is, and also to turn inward for support, because this is a very supportive energy, but it may not be as externally supported as it is internal, or not even to say that. You might be externally supported, but part of it is to turn to your inner resources, to your inner support, to allow you to be able to connect, to be able to reflect, to review, to embody what the new possibilities may be. There's a slowing down around this. And there's another connection that's really lovely, and it's about what we value. So when we align our thoughts and our intentions with what's really important to us, with what we value, then new possibilities can appear. And there's that, as we always are working with intention, we're trying to set something clear, we're trying to really align to who we are. And I like to think of the Sagittarius new moon as aligning to the possibility of who we're becoming, aligning to our expanded sense of self, and bring that into who we are when we know how important it is to us. And that actually allows for a new unfolding, for new manifestation. So it's there's places where this new moon creates, a level of, adjusting to, okay, well, this is who I am now. Okay, well, maybe I need to shift some beliefs here. Maybe that doesn't feel so comfortable. What do I need to let go of? But ultimately, it's a really expansive, uplifting, extremely supportive new moon, particularly when you can drop into trusting what you are being guided to through, I'm going to say through the fire, through your own personal fire, your inner fire. Those are the main things. Actually, I'll say one other thing. I didn't write it down here, but I thought it was interesting. The moon in this new moon is something called out of bounds, and that makes it go rogue. It makes it expand in all new ways. And when I saw that, I thought, well, how marvelous to have a Sagittarius moon that's out of bounds, because then the possibilities are even beyond what you can think. So this is where you can trust, you can tap into intuition, you can trust your feelings to guide you into ways where you may not even be able to even comprehend in your mind, to really expand into something that may not seem possible, and yet is, when you step into the intention of it. So I have no idea how that's actually going to play out, but I noticed that when I looked at the chart, and I thought, oh, that's just an added experience of connecting to this expandedness of who we are, feeling into that, and knowing that we can set these amazing intentions from that place.
I love that, because it really, to me, it speaks of the Sagittarian energy to begin with, right?
Yeah.
That's that kind of wild card. I have a granddaughter whose rising is Sagittarius as well, and she's constantly smashing her head because she's taking leaps and bounds off of furniture and so on. And so there's that aspect, but the emotional expansion fascinates me with that moon out of bounds, because it really speaks about the stretching that we're being asked to do right now.
Yeah.
As a human species, as women, as mothers, as grandmothers.
And as you say that, and I think about the stretching, and I didn't say this directly here, but there's a piece about, I guess I sort of said, there's a piece about stretching into the possibilities of what's beautiful in life, which takes us out of what we may be experiencing and what we may be seeing in the news or whatever that is, and the stretching into that place, into that inspirational place, into that. So anyway, sorry, when you said that just made me think of that. How
no, that's exactly what I mean. That's exactly what I mean. And I think there are thought leaders, there are writers, there are people that are asking us to think differently and to approach these situations from a whole new perspective, and to approach each other differently.
And that's where that Uranus connection comes in, because that's saying the unique to yourself may not feel comfortable. That's okay. So there's absolutely, that's, I guess where we are in humanity.
Yeah.
As a collective.
For sure. And Helly was just making a point in the chat and saying that she loves that there's this sense of being supported despite the lack of clarity.
Yeah.
I was thinking about that myself, and even in some ways thinking that the lack of clarity I feel like it's been forcing me to accept the support differently.
Interesting.
Right. Because it's so easy for those of us that tend to be mental, and that we're trained to be mental. I'd watch, for instance, my eldest daughter, who's a triple air sign. Like, she just, she's just a thinker. That's what she does. That's how she functions in the world. Right. And it's forcing us to do less of that, to go into the heart, to go into the body, to use that emotional field, that expanded emotional field of that moon out of bounds. Like, I love that.
Right. Yeah. And that moon out of bounds is square that Neptune, which are all the planets that's the spiritual part. We're trusting that connection to spirit because it may not be clear. And that, to me, that does even expand that a little bit further. And it does say the only thing we can trust is that our inner voice, our inner calling, our inner whatever, however we express that, our connection to source, whatever that is for each of us. Yeah.
And how fascinating that, because it's relating to Uranus, it's really setting the tone. I feel like this is setting the tone for 2024. There are some real thematic alignments here that are speaking about that energy that we're going to step into in the new year, and that we're actually going to be playing with in our workshop, right?
Yeah. Absolutely.
That inner authority piece.
Yeah.
It's powerful.
Yeah. Yep, it's exciting. There's a lovely new moon to take advantage of, and a lovely new moon to use to set intentions.
Yeah. Beautiful. Well, thanks for that. Okay, we're going to move into our journey. So, taking a moment to just sink into all of the pieces that Velen has presented for you, kind of a buffet of energies. And as Velen has often reminded us, it may not all resonate with you. Probably not. There are probably pieces that are really jumping out for you. One of the ones that Helly pointed out, certainly one or two that are jumping out for me personally. So whatever is kind of feeling like it's really present for you, just kind of sit with that. And let's take one hand on the belly and one hand on the heart and bring ourselves into our bodies a little bit more, just noticing your breath. And perhaps you want to close your eyes if that feels good and safe for you to do. And take a moment here to just notice your breath. That prana that rides in on the breath, coming in and moving out, and reminding yourself that this is a fundamental primal connection that you have with Grandmother Earth. You invite her atmosphere into your body. And as you exhale, you feed everything on her surface that is green. And so just feeling that cyclical nature of the breath and how it connects you to Earth. And allow your rootedness, maybe they're tiny, thin, grass-like roots or reed-like roots, or maybe they're deep roots, tree roots, allowing those to drop down from your seat into the ground, wiggling your toes, feeling your feet on the earth. Allowing yourself to be completely present to yourself in this moment. And then we're just going to take a little walk together in our mind's eye. Finding ourselves in the forest. And you can choose any forest you like to be in, a forest that you've seen in a film, one that you've read about in a book, one you've been in recently, one from your childhood, your favorite forest of all time, a forest of your imagination. This is your space. And because it's late in the calendar year, it's dark. And because it's new moon, there's no visible moon up ahead, but you know she's there, doing her dance, calling to you gently, sweetly, and reflecting all of these celestial energies and frequencies back to you. And as we step a little bit further into the forest, we come to a clearing, and we can see that it's a clearing because there's a fire, there's a bonfire. There's a bonfire that's been set for us, for you specifically. It's your bonfire. Maybe it's small and maybe it's really big. Whatever it is for you, just start stepping your way toward it. And already you can start to feel the warmth that the spirit of fire is imparting to the air around it. And you can see, as with all fires, there's a lot going on. There's a lot of movement. And yet you notice all around you in this forest clearing is quiet. And this sense of deep peace starts to enter your bones. And you notice that the temperature, though it's late in the calendar year and it's night, the temperature is quite pleasant. And there's very little breeze, no movement of the evergreens. And you find a log or a rock or some moss to sit on. There's no snow quite yet. And you sit comfortably and maybe even lie down. There are stars above you and the fire is crackling gently. And you take a few moments to breathe in the stillness and the peace of this moment with just you and the spirit of fire, your fire in this forest clearing. There's the smell of the fire smoke and the sound of the crackle as the wood breaks down. The feel of the warmth, the peacefulness of this clearing. And when you're ready, you look into the fire. You look into the fire and you look into the flame. And watch the dancing flames. And wait to see if any images or sensations or messages appear for you. And maybe there is, and maybe there isn't. But you're patient and you allow. You allow the dancing and the movement to remind you of the fire within you. And to remind you of the sun that will rise again in the morning. That is the fire in the sky that this earth enjoys. And as you look up into that sky now, you're reminded that every star you see is also a point of fire in the sky. And you feel how all fire is connected and that you are part of that circle of fire. How the spirit of fire lives within you in the same way that it lives in a lively, dancing way right in front of you. And you look at those flames and you feel the connection. And then you notice how the shadows are created from the fire, the shifting shadows to the left and to the right and beyond. And sometimes they look like animals, and sometimes maybe like dancing people, or fairies, or wood sprites, or nymphs. Or maybe they just look like shadows. Whatever you see, whatever you perceive, just allow it. You don't need to force it, just receive what's there for you. Noticing the shifting shadows. And then you notice that this fire is particularly lively. And on occasion, a little pop will happen and some sparks will fly. And you feel perfectly safe. Nothing's particularly aggressive or coming toward you. There's still that deep sense of peace, quiet, and stillness. But occasionally, this lively spark will go out of bounds from the fire, the circle of the fire, and you watch it dancing, leaping. And perhaps that brings a particular thought or feeling or sensation or memory or awareness. And maybe it does, and maybe it doesn't. And you just allow that, whatever it is. And just smile to yourself in your oneness with your experience of this fire that is so fully alive in this space. And of course, you smell it before you see it because it's dark, but you do notice that there's some smoke, not very much, just a little. But sometimes parts of the fire have little magical, kind of genie-like, billowing areas of smoke that will create themselves and then disappear. And you're watching to see, and one or two appear, and you notice. And maybe they remind you of something or someone or a situation. And you're allowing yourself to receive whatever the pieces are that are here for you in this moment. And you look to the embers that are being created. And perhaps images appear, images of creatures not from this planet, images of animals you recognize or don't, images of stories of the past or perhaps of the future. And you're just watching, you're just observing, you're receiving. You feel the heat on your face, on your skin of your arms. The dancing light of the flames, the sparks, the smell of the smoke, and the images in the burning embers. And then it occurs to you that this fire is not a natural phenomenon. There is, of course, a fire tender. You haven't seen them yet, but you know they must be around nearby because no one, of course, would create a fire in the forest without tending it. And so you wait until the fire tender appears and allow yourself to be pleasantly surprised by what they look like. Maybe they're human and maybe they're not. Maybe they're tall or maybe they're very small. They might have wings or other parts to them that are a little bit different than you. Maybe they don't have a physical body at all. And so when that fire tender arrives, if it's right for you, invite them to come and be by you. And if you have a question, and it can be just a silent question in your mind or one that you've been mulling over for a while, or maybe something that just pops up for you in this moment, go ahead and ask that question. Or maybe just an open-ended, what do I need to know in this moment? So open yourself to receive any message or messages that that fire tender has for you. And maybe the message will come in the form of a single word that you hear clear as a bell. And maybe that message will come as a sensation in a part of your body, or maybe throughout your body. And maybe that message will come in the form of a visual, just one picture or a color or a texture. Or maybe a whole little vignette, like a little movie in your mind, in your mind's eye. However that message appears, maybe just a feeling of love that's exchanged. Again, just receive it. Just be present to it. Just allow it. Feel the joy of being here in your clearing, in your forest, in your personal space, in the quiet and the silence with this beautiful fire and this loving fire tender. And as you feel the connection of the fire within you to this fire and the fires in the sky. Connect with that sense of gratitude and appreciation that is so easy to reach for when we are in this place of deep interconnection. Thank your fire tender, maybe with a deep, energetic bow. Thank the spirit of fire for its willingness to be present. Thank the air that helped bring the oxygen so that we could have this fire and make the smoke and burn the wood, and thank the wood that was once a tree that gave its life so that this fire could exist for us and create warmth and light and beauty and bring wisdom. And just have a deep appreciation for the beauty of this clearing and of this forest, which is itself dancing in delight with this experience. And when your gratitude feels like it's been expressed completely, allow yourself to begin to step away from this space and very gently and slowly return back. And from this place of deep interconnection and knowingness, we will set our intention and sit for 3 minutes with it. My intention is that I am co-creating a world that values, uplifts, and inspires what I uniquely offer within it. And welcome back from that beautiful intention setting. You may want to take some time now to journal for yourself and just notice, observe what it is that each aspect of the journey brought forward for you, any messages, any feelings, any awarenesses that have come up. And when you feel complete, just giving yourself some space and some time to allow the feelings to settle in and perhaps the intention to settle in, and making that intention your own if you wish. It is always presented in the first person so that you can really feel into it in terms of what it brings for you at this time. And so we'll be signing off for this particular new moon in this particular calendar year, letting 2023 come to a gentle close before we jump into the intense energies of 2024. Watch your email for your early bird announcement for Visioning 2024, co-create your future forward. And we hope to see you again soon. Bye-bye now.